Hello, and welcome to episode number 55 of the TEW 2020 Challenge Run. This is going to be the episode of Monday Night Raw for week 3 of September 2020, and we continue our build to the Raw branded Unforgiven at the end of the month. Without any further ado, let's jump straight into the show.
I won't beg, break, I'm going away. Every moment's one more chance to stand up or get in the
Edge opens Monday Night Raw. He says that he was happy to put this whole Seth Rollins thing behind him after SummerSlam, but 2 weeks ago, Seth attacked Edge behind his back and his cult of followers, with his cult of followers, and took away his chance to once again become WWE Champion, which has been Edge's whole goal since he came back in the Royal Rumble in January. So, at Unforgiven, he heard Seth say that Edge will apparently get what's coming to him at Unforgiven, and he accepts that challenge, and if he wants to face Edge again, it's going to be him and Seth, one-on-one, no Church, no Randy, inside a steel cage. Drew McIntyre then interrupts, and he says that he respects Edge, and he agrees with everything that he just said apart from one thing, and that's that even if the match would have gone ahead between him and Drew McIntyre, Edge wouldn't have become WWE Champion because Drew would have kept a hold of it. But nevertheless, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, he says, and he's like, let's go kick some ass like we did last week. And then Seth cuts on the muff, he's like, whoa, 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 he's on the Titantron. He says, after their cowardly attack last week, the Church of Rollins would be foolish to wander into that building tonight and know that these madmen are loose and they're going to do exactly the same thing again. That's why he, Murphy, Gargano, Candice and Ruby, none of them are here tonight. If you do want to fight someone, you two can team up in the main event to take on Akam and Damian Priest, who are here on church duty. Of course, because he trusts them as the muscles of the group to sort of fend off any attacks. And Seth and Drew were like, okay, you're on, I guess. So a lot to unpack here. Edge says that he wants Seth inside the steel cage at Unforgiven. Drew McIntyre and Edge teaming up in the main event against Akam and Damian Priest. The opening match gets a 58. Kofi defeats good old Slapjack in 10:38 with Trouble in Paradise. 56 for Kofi, 41 for Shane and Thorne. They don't click, apparently, which sucks, because Kofi should be scoring more than a 56. But apparently Slapjack has made him go down. Apparently going down to that level lowers your game, which I can't say I blame Kofi for. Nevertheless, after the match, Heat gets back onto the feud when Bronson Reed and Brendan Vink come out and they attack Big E, who's at ringside. Or sort of like after the match, they'll all be at ringside, but then the big men get into a brawl. And then Kofi sort of turns around to go help them, but as he goes to leave the ring, Shane Thorne hits him with a low blow. And with Big E down, the three Aussies get into the ring and take Kofi down as well, and hold their titles up high, etc. Dakota gets a 67 on a promo. She says that since they defeated the Iconics on SmackDown, they can now focus on coming back here to Raw to shut up J-Flow, as well as apparently the Robert Stone brand, who seem to think they're also in the hunt for the titles. So she thinks the Iconics were the only threat on SmackDown. As we know, when we saw SmackDown, a whole plethora of teams were involved in a tag team brawl. So Dakota may be misguided in thinking that all the threats on SmackDown are over and done with. But she says she's also got J-Flow over here on Raw, who was still talking about wanting a rematch with like a different pairing. And also apparently Robert Stone wants in as well. It's a random 71. No storyline, no nothing. Sheamus and Jinder have a brawl for 10 minutes. Sheamus defeats Jinder with a bro kick in 10:17. Jinder gets a 50, 76 for Sheamus. Why was this so good? Okay, I'm not going to complain, but I should have had... This is the opener instead of the Kofi Shane Thorne match, because this would have been a hotter opener, apparently. Speaking of hot, very hot angle here. Carmella and R-Truth are discussing what happened last week when R-Truth was pinned by the Great Khali to lose the 24/7 title. And they're like, well, I'm not going to be able to fight that 16-foot giant. He'll just beat me up in one kick. I don't want you going near him either, Carmella. You'll get hurt by him. We need to find somebody big enough to take him down. And then Carmella's like, what about him? And it cuts to Otis with a big old plate of food. He's like, oh yeah, oh yeah. And he sits down, he's about to eat. And then R-Truth's like, hey, Tucker. And he's like, oh, beep, Tucky. Don't mention that name in front of me. And Truth's like, oh, okay, Tucker, sorry, but I need you to help me get my baby back from Giant Gonzalez, who stole it last week. I notice he's looking all confused, and then Carmella steps into frame. And she's like, he means Great Khali took the 24/7 title, and we don't think we can stop him alone. We need your help, Otis. And of course, because a pretty blonde lady has asked Otis for help, he's gonna show up and try and win her heart, because his real Peach is still on SmackDown, so he may as well get a new Peach here on Raw. And then he's like, me, lead the way, which way did he go? And then Otis, R-Truth, and Carmella leave together on a hunt to get the 24/7 title back from the Great Khali. 40 rated segment. Casey and Caden Carter, they have another match. They lose another losing effort, another close but no cigar effort for them. They're getting the good old Humberto Carrillo push, quote unquote. And Tam and Mina of J-Flow defeat them. Mina pins Caden Carter. Tam gets a 37, a 38 for Mina, 24 for Caden Carter, and a 31 for Casey Catanzaro. Then after the match, Dakota and Raquel come out. They take it to Mina and Tam, because they were the two that had the match, sorry. And then the other three members, Maki, Leeds, Marika, and Mizuki, and the three of them jump on Raquel and Dakota to try and even the odds. And the numbers game catches up to the champions, and they go to retreat, but then Aliyah and Brandy come out of nowhere, and they attack the other two members. They attack Mizuki and Marika, and take them out to even the odds. Dakota would come in, kick Maki out, because Maki sort of taking a back seat, sort of, because she had the role. She was the one who got pinned at SummerSlam. So she's sort of like saying, oh, these two and these two, separating the J-Flow into two tag teams to try and stop Raquel and Dakota. And then Aliyah and Brandy come out and even the odds. And then Robert Stone gets all excited because his girls are finally on the upper hand. He goes to high-five Dakota and Raquel. They sort of just look at him all weird and then walk to the back. So tensions are boiling over in the Raw Women's Tag Team division right now. Who knows what the next step will be? Who are the real number one contenders here? Charlotte cuts a promo to remind people that she exists, because she hasn't got a match this week. And she's like, I am the queen. And at the end of next month, it is Evolution. And I'm going to main event that show because I'm Charlotte goddamn Flair. Woo. Etc. Kairi defeats Naomi in 11 minutes and 3 seconds of an insane elbow. Io helps her and she cheats to beat Naomi. Kairi gets a 55, Naomi gets a 45. Then they cut a promo after the match, talking about how they took out Asuka last week, and now it's a changing of the guard because with Asuka out of the equation, it can really be Kairi and Io's time to shine here on Raw as the top Japanese superstars, like they were always meant to be. Liv Morgan has an interview, and Liv's like, well, you see, Charlie, I'm still chomping at the bit to get revenge on Candice and Ruby because they came out and attacked me 2 weeks ago. I haven't forgotten about that. But lo and behold, miraculously, they aren't here tonight because they're off relaxing because their leader, Seth Rollins, he's too much of a coward to face a beating that he had coming to him at the hands of Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, Edge, and all the other people he's pissed off. And Cesaro walks into frame, and he says, you know what, I'm happily could be one of those people that would happily take it to Seth Rollins, but you know, Johnny Gargano is the same way. He's also a bit of a coward because he's off with Seth and the rest of the church after he attacked me last week in my match, and he's probably hiding behind Seth and his wife now for cover so that I can't get my hands on him on what he just deserves, which is a beatdown, an uppercut, and a swing from the Intercontinental Champion. And then Robert Stone interrupts, still off a high after his successful beatdown of two members of J-Flow. He says that, guys, he sees that the church volumes, from an outsider perspective, are a problem to Monday Night Raw. And if we all work together, Robert Stone brand, being Brandy, Aaliyah, himself, Cesaro, and Liv, can take out the church for good. And so I was like, you know what, we're going to pass on joining your little stupid brand here, but if you and one of your girls can meet us in the ring for a mixed tag team match, you wouldn't mind that. That would be pretty sick. And then they walk off, and Robert Stone's like, oh, I've made a mistake. I did not mean to get into the ring with the Intercontinental Champion and the Women's Champion. Toni Storm continues her winning streak here on Raw. She defeats Jessica Meyer with a strong 0 in an 18 rated match, 30 for Toni and a 21 for Jessie. Bleh. Miz Morrison go out for a promo, and they say even though they didn't win last week, they're still the best team on Raw. Make no mistake about it, because they didn't win the shot for Unforgiven, that doesn't mean they're not the best tag team on Raw, because it was Ricochet and Cedric were the reasons they lost, because Cedric was the one who got pinned in that match, not Miz, not Morrison, Cedric Alexander. He's the loser here, not us two. And then he's like, well, for the sake of how angry you've made us, the greatest tag team here on Raw, Cedric and Ricochet, you better hope that we don't cross paths in the future, because your little receipt for that will be coming. And Kevin Owens comes out, he's like, it's funny that it's you two, of all people, talking about how other people lost the match for you, considering I should be doing the same thing, because you got a win over me, John, 2 weeks ago, and that's because Elias came out and hit me with a guitar, because I said his singing was trash. So quite frankly, you're in exactly the same position, and you're moaning about something that you shouldn't be moaning about, but no matter, because I've got Ricochet and Cedric with me here, and if you really want to stay out of our business, they've got backup, and we'll take the fight to you. And then Elias comes out from behind the three, and he tries to attack Kevin Owens, and they get into a brawl. Miz and Morrison run up the ramp. There's a big six-way brawl, and then Eve comes out. She's like, enough of this. I'm tired of these endless brawls on my show. You're just going to settle your differences in a six-man tag team match right now, because I'm quite frankly getting tired of this already. I've only been here for 3 weeks. Very blunt and very to the point. Six-man tag happens, gets a 75. Cedric, Ricochet, and Kev defeat Elias, Miz, and Morrison when Ricochet pins The Miz with a 630. 54 for Cedric, 69 for Ricochet, 76 for Kev, 75 for Morrison, 64 for The Miz, and 66 for Elias. So yeah, the babyface is getting one over on these dastardly heels. Then in a 78 rated random match to give me more matches on the show and to give these two something to do, Randy Orton and Andrade have a banger in 18-19, and Randy Orton defeats Andrade with an RKO. Orton in 87, Andrade in 85. I don't know why the rating got a 78 then. Is it because commentary was shit? Pretty much, yeah. But after the match, Orton is celebrating his win when he's blindsided by Damian Priest, who's one of the two church members that is here tonight. And then he lays Randy Orton out with the Reckoning. He sort of takes a chair, and sort of like when he attacked Finn Balor in NXT, he sort of took the chair, sat on it, and then cut a promo on his downed body. He does that in front of Orton. And he's like, you're going to regret RKOing me last week, because I'm now going to put you down in the name of the greater good. And then he'd like fire the arch. His name would pop up in flames on the Titantron, his theme would play, and Orton would be laid out cold at the hands of the priest. Mixed tag team match gets a 67. Cesaro and Liv just toy with Robert Stone and Aaliyah for 9 minutes and 44 seconds. And Cesaro pins Robert Stone. But mainly, when Liv and Aaliyah are in there, it's sort of semi-competitive. But probably still not, because Aaliyah at the minute is still a comedy character and Liv is the champion. And I know they're like best mates in real life, so that probably would be really cool for them to be in the ring together on Raw. But currently, there's a bit of a difference in pecking order. But mainly Cesaro will be toying with Robert Stone. He'd definitely take a swing for about 50 rotations before Cesaro locks in the sharpshooter and he immediately taps. Liv gets a 55, Cesaro went 82, 29 for Aaliyah, and 45 for Big Robbie Stone. 24/7 rated segment. The Great Khali is here, and he's hobbling through the hallway with his title upside down in his hands. When R-Truth comes up to him, he's like, "Hey, Giant Gonzalez. Hey, do you mind, give me my baby back?" And then he's like, and then Otis comes out, he's like, "Me! I think he said he wants the 24/7 title back. R-Truth and his lovely lady friend want that belt back. And if you're not going to give it to him, you have to take it from try about picking on a man your own size." And Otis just, he bulldozes Khali to the ground. And Otis is the man who pins the Great Khali to win the 24/7 title. So Otis is the champion. And then R-Truth's like, "Well, thanks so much, Tucker. Do you mind giving me back that now?" And then Otis looks angry at him. He's like, "What did you call me?" And Carmella's looking, she starts to back away because she knows where this is going. She doesn't want to sort of get in Truth's way. And he's like, "I said, Tucker, do you want to give me my baby back?" And then Otis just angrily shoves R-Truth to the floor because he's called him Tucker. He said that name in front of him. And then Otis walks off with the title. Didn't quite go the way R-Truth planned here tonight. But at least the title is off Khali, who sort of gets up during all this, looks across at R-Truth, and they're sort of like, "Well, what do we do now?" As Otis is the 24/7 champion. 76 rated main event. Drew McIntyre and Edge work together and they defeat Damian Priest and Akam. Edge spears Akam for the win. 88 for Drew, 90 for Edge, 58 for Damian Priest, and a 63 for Akam. Post-match segment. Edge and Drew celebrate when Swerve, the entire Church of Rollins, is here after all. Maybe they weren't at the opening segment, but they are now. And they all run out, Seth, Murphy, Gargano, Liv, Ruby included. And they take it to Edge and Drew McIntyre and they take him out. Seth goes to give Edge a curb stomp, but then outrun Randy Orton and Cesaro and Liv Morgan. And the two groups, the babyfaces and the Church, get into a big old brawl all around ringside. There's just bodies flying everywhere. And then Eve comes out on stage, he's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I literally said earlier on, when fucking Kevin Owens and all of them were getting into a brawl, that this shit has to stop, and I'm not taking this any longer. So, at Unforgiven, Drew, you want your rematch against Murphy for the WWE title? You've got it. Seth, you and Edge, Steel Cage, that's official. Cesaro, Gargano, IC title match. Yep, you can have that. Liv, Candice and Ruby, triple threat, women's title. Orton Priest, 1-on-1. There we go. Happy now, everybody? She's like, this is clearly what you all want, and I can't keep having you mess my show up. I've already seen what I've had to miss, because remember Joe Clee did such a terrible job of it all, that I had to step in and fix this mess. So next week, Liv, find a partner, and you can face Candice and Ruby in a tag team match. Main event next week, Murphy, Seth, Gargano, Priest of the Church against Cesaro, McIntyre, Orton, and Edge. So very blunt Eve trying to sort of get a grips on the whole show, but she's got a long way to go because there's a lot of bad blood between these men and women, and it may all even blow over next week in that main event, a hot 8-man tag team main event with the Church against their arch babyface rivals. 80 rated show, pop increased in 6 regions, again the limited viewer thing we're going to fix once we go back up in size. But what matters more on the 80 rated show is what you thought of the show, so do let me know what you thought in the comments below. And I'll see you next time for SmackDown and Mae Young Classic Episode 3. See you then.